Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am joined with the lovely tea miller, Theresa. We just want to kind of get together and just show you all the really delicious food that we like to eat on the weekends.
We truly look forward to this.
I think for a lot of people, they would assume that these types of cookies, which we are going to be tasting today and talking a little bit about with you, would be something that's completely off limits.
Out of the question.
Yeah. And I guess recently I put up a post that was about, good and bad foods and being able to identify and putting things within context of why something might be actually good for somebody, but for someone else that's a no. So today we're really going to go over a lot of stuff to do with macro tracking, I guess working out what the ingredients are for some of these types of little goodies, if they are something that you're purchasing from an online store, because a lot of these places don't provide the nutrition information, but of course you don't want to just not eat them because they don't have macros.
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple to work it out, and we'll go through today, I guess, what the ingredients are, how we track them. And then I think, Theresa, you really wanted to talk about setting boundaries. So that's what we are going to be doing today, guys. So stay tuned. We're going to go and heat these bad boys up and talk to you more about it. So I've got 4 here today. These cookies are from Mega-licious. I actually was chatting with the owner a couple of days ago, and we are very excited to be able to share these with you. So the first one here in the corner, which is this chocolate deliciousness, is called a chunky monkey. So the description is a brown sugar base with a hint of banana, white chocolate chips. Oh my God, I love white chocolate chips.
Just put it in everything.
Fudge covered Nutter Butters, Reese's peanut butter chips, a dark chocolate chunk mixed into the dough. Then the cookie is stuffed with peanut butter and finished with a chewy brownie.
And if you smell it, it's just like...
Teresa's about to bathe in these. She's going to pop them in her bath.
My senses are heightened because I've been deprived on calories.
So the second one, Tees, you want to read out the cinnamon roll,
which is this one. Mm-hmm. Cinnamon brown sugar base cookie with cinnamon chips, white chocolate chips, and mini chocolate chips mixed in the dough, stuffed with a gooey cinnamon roll and topped with a classic cinnamon bun icing. You literally see the center of the cinnamon roll emerging in the center. Do you see that?
Yeah, I can see it's swirled around. It's so good. Okay, so this next one is the Mega-roux, which is this one here. So this is, I think, Dunkaroo, but times 1,000. So there's confetti cookie dough chunks, Teddy Grahams, confetti cupcake Pop-Tarts, just a touch of cinnamon chips, all infused into a very lightly spiced sugar cookie, filled with one of my favorite homemade fillings, which is basically a Mega-licious version of a traditional Dunkaroo frosting, but better. Finished off with a creamy glaze and topped with a confetti cupcake Pop-Tart.
It looks like the glaze is like a donut glaze that's on top.
It looks delicious.
Oh
and
my
it smells.
I have a weakness for buttercream.
Oh my God. So it's you just see me floating.
We're just freaks.
Okay. Do you want to read the last one, the funfetti?
It's a sugar cookie with St. Patty's Day sprinkles, cake chunks, confetti white chocolate chips, and regular white chocolate chips mixed throughout. It's then stuffed with homemade orange cake batter, all topped with a coating of white glaze rolled in more sprinkles.
Damn. So it's been a really long time since either of us have had these deliciousness. I think I ate so many in my off season that I was like, I can't eat more cookies. I actually was making my own of these at home. In fact, guys, I have an edible dough in one of my books. So I've definitely enjoyed these over the holidays.
How many times have you had someone say, I don't know how to get my fats in?
I'm like, have you tried baking a cookie?
Have you tried getting some cookie
dough? I feel like I wanted to share first off the weight of these things and it was really eye-opening when we put them on the scale and compared it to a regular cookie. So Let's go ahead and throw these bad boys on the scale so you can see exactly what they weigh.
All right, so we just weighed these bad boys, and you might want to take a guess at how much they weigh before you hear, because they're insane. These cookies are on average 280 grams a piece. That's equivalent to 7.
We just weighed
Standard.
out these. So a standard cookie, guys. So we're just talking a regular bakery cookie. It's the same as eating 7. Can you imagine that? And people are like, oh, it's not that bad. Like I eat 1 cookie a day probably on average. So when I ate one of these, I was like, oh, damn. Wow, that's my 7 cookies gone.
We even did a comparison to these little sandwich cookies because they're filled with like a buttercream. And what was it? 8? 8 of these equals 1 of these.
I can't begin to fathom. Although my appetite right now is like, you can eat this.
Yeah,
so I think it is so important, for the average person, if you were to eat one of these, just how important it is. First off, just know the weight. I actually tracked one of these as the whole cookie being 120 grams, and I made a bit of a mistake. Yeah, I mean, it was so funny. I jumped on the scales on Monday morning after Easter because we had them on Easter, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm up a little bit today." I'm like, "Those cookies were good," but now that I've actually put it on the scale and weighed it out, I know exactly why, and I know how to correct for it. So, I think I wanted to start, I guess, with the general ingredients in these. So typically for a base for an edible dough or for a cookie like this, you're looking at flour, some kind of sugar, butter. That's probably the most. If you're doing 2 cups of flour, you're probably doing a full cup of butter. So 220 grams of butter goes into these, a single, if you're making a batch. And then you'll have a little bit of milk, maybe a little bit of vanilla, just as your general base. And then
toppings.
It's really the toppings that you add into these that make them so delicious.
Yeah.
But also really just add in a lot of density, which is why they are so freaking good. So as far as tracking, I think the best comparable that I use is the Toll edible cookie dough just from the grocery store. So if you guys, depending on which part of the world you're located, you can just go to the produce or the fresh section and you can see the edible cookie doughs. So that's kind of what I would use to track it. And then kind of depending on what the toppings and the fillings are, I'll then go in and add based on what I can see. So in the case of this brownie, I would put in the weight that I can see, but then I would also add in probably, 20 or 30 grams worth of brownie because that's an actual brownie that's been smashed into this. And then there's also peanut butter, which is probably a 40 or 50 gram spoon, maybe more in the middle.
And white chocolate chips.
Extra white chocolate chips. It's a lot more dense than a regular one, just, based on what you can see. So that's kind of how I would base my macro tracking. So start off with the weight that you've consumed and then add in any little extra fillings. So shall we eat them?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Well, we're going to do quarters, and then Holly and I are going to share a quarter.
I'm going to weigh it just so that we know.
1/8.
There we go. Let's put on the scale. Let's see what an 1/8 weighs. An 1/8 for record weighs the same as a standard cookie.
33 grams.
So, all right, this first one, what are we eating? We're eating the
Chunky Monkey.
Chunky Monkey. Oh, I'm going to go to brownie. Cheers. Oh, my God. Okay. First off, that brownie, we've heated these up a little bit. I think I cooked them for 20 seconds. The brownie is underbaked.
The first thing I taste is the banana, but it's subtle.
I feel like it's banana essence. Could be real bananas. I don't know. I would use banana essence in the base.
It's so good.
Oh, the peanut butter. Oh, it's so delicious.
I think I'm biased because
We started on the really good one.
My senses are so heightened right now.
That was probably the best cookie I've ever eaten.
Oh my God.
Guys, you need to go and order some of these Mega-licious cookies.
Oh my God.
Well, at least we know an eighth is 30 grams, so.
That's perfect. In every way.
I couldn't get a better cookie. Do you like crispy cookies?
If there's dough on the inside.
Yeah.
Maybe a crispy edge here or there, but then doughy on the inside.
Okay, out of 10, what would you give that for a cookie? I feel like we picked a really good one.
It's like a 9.5. I don't even know, like.
I'd give that a 9.5. That's pretty damn good.
It's so
okay.
good.
All right, let's do this next one. Okay, we'll do the cinnamon roll. And then we're going to do a quarter. Okay.
That's mine.
All right, let's just see what this bit was. Yep, that's another 30 grams.
So they're about
Okay.
30 grams.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
That's too good. Oh my God, I'm salivating so much right now.
When
It's
the
ridiculous.
cookie just makes
Oh.
you silent.
What's the chewy? There's like,
That's a dough. That's the cinnamon roll.
is that the actual roll?
That's
So
the-
it's a cooked cinnamon roll because
It's a yeast cinnamon
yeah,
roll.
that's what I can taste. So there's an actual cinnamon roll in the center of this because it's a little bit, you know, when you actually have a cooked cinnamon roll, I can feel that the bready texture in the center. The frosting is so good.
I have a weakness for cinnamon rolls. Like
I
cinnamon,
love anything
cinnamon
cinnamon.
buns.
Okay, this is really, really good.
It's really good. But if I'm comparing it to this one, I don't know.
If you're feeling like a brownie kind of mood, you can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
If you're feeling cinnamony, holy wow. This would be so good with like vanilla ice cream. That's what I would do. I'd heat it up with a bowl of
I want milk. Like just whole
a
milk.
glass of milk, a bowl of vanilla ice cream. Oh,
What would you rate that one?
it's pretty good.
It's
Okay.
good.
If you like cinnamon, which I freaking do, like I don't think I've tasted a better cinnamon cookie.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's a 9.
Yeah.
It's a 9.
Yeah. This one was ever so slightly like grabbed my attention more, but it's solid. That's a solid.
I love the texture combinations in this too, though. Like
God.
the breading and then the white chocolate. It's great. Okay, we're gonna go on to the St. Paddy's Day funfetti. Okay, I can hear my cat. He's like, "Let me in." Okay,
That looks
yum. That one's 35. A little bit bigger. All right. Cheers.
I'm going right for that dough. Oh.
It like just the sugar, it's so sweet and it kind of just dissolves in your mouth. So it was previously a dough and now it's just like the sugar with the temperature of your mouth.
I
It's
think
just
the
melting.
orange inside is actual dough. It's sugar cookie dough.
Oh my God.
That one is
I can't.
solid.
I've had a lot of cookies and I've had a lot of brownies.
I'm getting chills because it's like a sugar rush.
Teresa's like, we've just trained, by the way. I haven't
We're
eaten
famished.
anything. I haven't eaten anything yet. Teresa's ready for a protein shake.
I had brought my shake so that I can get really full off of this and not want to eat all of this. That was good. That was
That would rival. I mean, I can't complain about anything about them. That was really good too, guys. So that's the Funfetti St. Patrick's edition. I believe she actually has some of these in her deep freezer. Well, that she did last time I checked, which is why I have them because it's not St. Patrick's Day. So I would highly recommend seeking these out. I don't know. I probably would give it a 10. Really, I should have given that a 10.
I think maybe it's a 9.4.
Ooh.
I'm getting specific here.
Okay, and you know what I really liked that there's the contrast with the set icing on top too. So it kind of broke it up from the rest of the cookie.
There's
It was
multiple
easier.
textures in it.
Yeah, it was easier to hold too because it had that like set layer. Wow. Okay, lucky last is the Mega-Roo. So this is the one with the cupcake Pop-Tart on top. Confetti cookie dough chunks, 10 grams, cinnamon chips infused into a very light spiced sugar cookie filled with one of my favourite fillings. It's a Dunkaroo frosting, so it's got a frosting on top, and then a glaze. Let's get after it.
They're so big.
Mm-hmm. 30 grams. Where are you, my friend? Cheers.
Last one, I'm a little sad.
Oh, it smells so sweet. Mm. Mm. It's kind of like a lesser version of this one.
There's that slight cinnamon
Cinnamon.
taste. It's like a Teddy Graham mixed with buttercream.
It's a lighter version of the cinnamon roll one. It's not as intense, which I think I like it as well. What flavors are you getting?
What is that? There's like a familiar taste in there.
Is it graham cracker?
Maybe it is the graham cracker.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the biscuit base.
Yeah. And then the cinnamon chips like throw it way off because you're like...
So it's not as rich, like the batter is nowhere near as rich as the other one. So if you prefer something a little less, this one's probably for you. I'm going to give
really
this
good.
one an 8 because it's a little drier because I think there's a little bit more biscuits in here. And it's got less, sadly, it's got so much less chocolate. So it's probably better in macros because it's not as moist.
Yeah,
But I definitely like it.
I would agree. I think it's around an 8. And I think because we had this sugar cookie one that was so explosive, it's like hard to compare with that. But still good nonetheless.
Okay, so knowing that we have these in our fridge, let's talk about setting boundaries because I know, especially for you right now, you're competing. You can, at the end of the day, incorporate these things. It's not like that particular food is going to blow your entire prep, but you have to track it and you have to know what's in it. Like there is no good and bad foods.
Yeah, and I think I learned my lesson a couple preps ago. I ordered something very similar strategically so I could have it post-show, something to look forward to. I'm like, I'll put them in the freezer and I won't touch them. And before you know it, you realize
that microwave?
These defrost very quickly and easily. It's not hard to defrost. And before you know it, like you've eaten a little piece a day here and there. Some days you probably went over. And so for me personally, I just can't have these in the house because when you're operating from like a place of, under fueling and you're tapping into a lot of those complex defense mechanisms, sometimes it's almost like a subconscious like reach for food.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of mental willpower.
Yeah.
So to not even leave it to chance, I don't order these.
Yeah, and I mean you're fighting like a hormonal response at this point, especially for somebody that is getting really lean. So now your ghrelin and leptin are being impacted, and they're signaling you to eat, and it's so much more challenging at that point to be able to say no. Now, I think for me, like I'm completely not in prep and have been able to enjoy a lot of these things. So it's definitely been easier. However, for me, I haven't had these at home probably for, 4 months maybe. I haven't had anything even like remotely close to this. So, because it was a new and exciting thing, I definitely found it really hard, like Theresa said last week, just to put like half the cookie back. I was like, who eats half a cookie? So, I pulled out the other half and had it for dessert. So I ate like a whole one of these with my ice cream the other night. Really enjoyed it, but it's dense. So just to give you an idea about the calories on this, so it's 280 grams, and this is just assuming a regular base. So something that doesn't have, the brownie stuffed on the top, the butter frosting in the center, or all of the, the cinnamon scroll. So that one cookie has 1,240 calories. So it is 162 grams of carbohydrate and 60 grams of fat. So, like I said, these foods can absolutely be included and you can still get a phenomenal physique. However, you have to accurately track them and exercise caution. So if you know that this is a weakness for you, it is for me. I can't. Like, I really struggle during contest prep to have this stuff around. I even struggle having my kids' foods in the house, fun cereals and they get to have like their mac and cheese and like fried cheese fingers and just like random foods that, I would normally incorporate as part of my, day-to-day food choices. But they're so dense. And in order to get to that level of leanness, you don't want to sacrifice, that'd be more than Theresa's whole day at this point. What are your current targets for this week leading into your next show?
Right now, I'm at about 125 carbs and 40 grams of fat. So just the 1/8 of a cookie that we had, that's half my carbs and fats for the day. So I'm really going to have to pull back later, eat a lot more high protein foods and more volume fibrous foods if I want to get fuller. So that's crazy to think. This one cookie is over Theresa's entire daily caloric requirement if she wanted to continue. So, you hear a lot of people kind of making the comments like, oh, that's a bad food. You shouldn't be eating that during prep, or you couldn't have cookies, or you shouldn't be eating that. Like, that is garbage. That's coming from somebody that isn't educated about, the macronutrient composition of food. But just be very, very mindful. So something that I do is I'll put these things like at the very back of the cupboard. So she can't reach it.
Today, I had these cookies were, sitting out the back of a cupboard that I cannot get into. So I had to get Brian, our media person, to get them out for me. I would find a chair. I would stand up on that chair and I would get it. That's my problem. So I think the best solution for this is these are the kind of things that you order like a once-off. Probably don't buy in bulk. It's another thing that I think a lot of people really struggle with is if this is a bulk purchase. So something that I do throughout a prep or during a diet phase, you don't have to be somebody that's competing. It doesn't make your macro targets any more or any less difficult, but I'll go out to get my dessert. So if in that way that I'm not kind of, I don't have open access to an entire tub of ice cream because I would just keep eating. So, making myself get in the car, go to the store, make a single serve of something or buy like a single cookie from the bakery section at the supermarket or something. I can still do that, but it just controls the portion and there's no risk of me being like...
What's something I've learned to do, I think you kind of taught me this, is don't be afraid to throw away food. I know that sounds terrible, but there's times you buy a whole dozen donuts or something, and then it's just sitting there and you're snacking on it, just in your face all the time. And there's been multiple times where I'm just I'm done with these. I don't even want them. Toss it in the trash. But I think we have this I don't want to waste it.
Yeah, I grew up in a very frugal environment. Wasting food was probably the worst thing that you could do.
Yeah.
So I've definitely struggled with that over time. It's I spent good hard-earned money on this, and now it's what's more important right now? The $2 that you're about to put in the bin, or this goal that you're spending thousands of dollars on, with a coach, or if you're Theresa competing, you're buying your costumes. So something that one of my clients and good friend does, Shelley, she's baked entire cakes before and then put the whole thing in the bin afterwards. If once the people have had their cake or serve, she puts it in the bin. Or she was telling me the other day she had a bunch of brownies from a particular company that she's just started prep, and the only way that she could put them in the bin without taking them back out of the bin was to spray them with Windex. So she got out some kind of cleaning product. I think it was Windex. So she just sprayed them all first.
Oh my
And that was enough to then once you put them in the bin. Because I've done that before. I put something in the bin and I'm
yeah, you would be surprised. You do some weird things when you're
prep. It's crazy. So
even foods that you don't normally like, you're just eating more of it. You're like, I don't even want this right now. I'm just eating it because I just
It's
want more of
days
whatever.
of our lives as a competitor. So, moral of this story, I think being really mindful, these are things that you can include. Make sure that you weigh them, have a good estimate at what's in them, look at the ingredients. Usually most of these products come with a little label of the ingredients for allergy warnings. That's a requirement. So you can kind of get them, and they're ordered in order of quantity. So the things that are listed first on the label are the things that are in the most volume, and then they trickle their way down to those that are, the least amount of volume or the amount. So that can be a good guide. And then, of course, maybe just being sensible about how many of these things that you're ordering, have a plan. Don't just leave things to fate, because in times of hunger, when you've got hormonal changes taking place, you've had a bad, stressful day at work, your, willpower is already through the shitter. It's very easy to kind of make these little simple mistakes. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed these. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry, you didn't get to eat them. I was going to say, I hope you enjoyed them as much as we did.
I enjoyed this.
But guys, please, I really do want to give a big shout out to Mega-licious Cookie. She does orders every Thursday. You cannot even go in there until Thursday, and she surprises you with all the goodness. So go and check them out. They are super tasty, just a nice, fun little thing, if anything. So thank you for watching. If you guys have got questions, I do go in and read all the comments, and I'll get back to you guys. It might be about tracking or anything like that. Or if you've got questions for T about a show, feel free to leave us a message, and I guess you're going to see us very soon. I've got some edible dough coming at you.